Hey guys, what's up? I'm the Rap Nerd, and this is my list of best rap albums of 2020. So I decided to do something a little different this time. Like over the past 2 years, I have been, sharing like taking a screenshot of my list and sharing here and there with my friends. Last year, I shared a post on Instagram, and or usually even like whenever I find a good album, I just put it on as a story and let my people know what kind of albums I'm digging in. This time, I decided to do something different. Courtesy of my friends, we somehow got some equipments, and let's give it a shot. Let's see how it goes. Before I get started, there are two things that I want to get clear. First, although it's a rap album of the year list, I have included mixtapes and EPs as well. So in case if you find them, which you will on this list here and there, so don't bug it out. It's easy. Like, I have included all of them in this very umbrella topic, or umbrella term, that is album of the year. Secondly, and again, this is very important for listeners because I have seen people just losing their shit on the internet. It's my list, man. It's not your list. It's not a publications list. It's my list. So, if you don't find, like, okay, what about this album? Oh, you didn't include this one. It's fine, man. That's just how it is. I mean, if you think that you could do better, go ahead, make a video, or just put it out in whichever way you think you can express yourself best at. If not, it's fine. Maybe I haven't listened to it. I mean, come on, man. I guess a guy can only do so much. So, with all those things cleared out, let's get it started. So, the first album that I got here is 2 Chainz, So Help Me God. Man, with 2 Chainz, you can be assured that you will get bangers on that album. Be it the rapper Go to the League, or be it any other album that 2 Chainz has put out over these years. There's always just you get songs that you can just vibe to it, and this album is no different. Be it Kanye West or Brent Fiasco collab, or be it even his collab with Kevin Gates, song after song you get something or the other. You can just bob your head, you can enjoy it. The beats go hard. 2 Chainz is rapping well. Features brought their best, and all in all, a very good experience. He brought some emotional side to him as well, where he talks about his issues as a father, his life that he has lived so far, and like the hustle that he has to go through. It's a very good album. I think for a casual listener, there are definitely tracks that they'll find enjoyable, and overall it's a very good work. I think 2 Chainz is definitely showing maturity in his album over these years, and I think long it may continue. That's how we hope. Next up, I got Benny the Butcher and Hit-Boi with Burden of Proof. Man, Benny the Butcher's progress has been tremendous all this while. Like, discovering him back in 2018 because of Tana Talk 3, to look where he has came now, and even going back to the previous projects like Butcher on Steroids, or even the other tapes that he has put out so far. Benny the Butcher has been constantly evolving and just improving on his rap, the music that he has been putting out, and this album is no different. Like, Hit-Boi easily has to be the producer of the year with the kind of content and the albums that he has been putting out, be it with Nas or Big Sean, everyone. Hit-Boi killed it, and Benny the Butcher might be the year mark for it, because the beats that he has brought here are excellent. The rapping is obviously excellent. The features, be it Freddie Gibbs feature, any other features that are here on this album, outstanding. Like there is no complaint as such, and a very short, concise album, straight to the point, no fillers. Brilliant album. Next up, I got another Griselda member, Boldy James, with his collaboration with Alchemist, The Price of Tea in China. I'll be very honest, Boldy James, this is the first time of me listening to Boldy James, but again, upon looking on it, I realized that he has collaborated with The Alchemist before as well, back in 2013. And it shows, like, the kind of chemistry that they have on this album. Like, it's brilliant. The kind of beats that Alchemist gave Boldy James, it looks like they are crafted for him. Like, first off, his voice is very, very, rough. It's very graveling, and then those beats perfectly complement the kind of dark beats that Alchemist tailored for him. And overall, all you get is a very good, Griselda signature sound with Boldy's excellent lyricism throughout it. Amazing album. I've seen a lot of publications putting it in a top 5 or top 10. Thoroughly deserved. Next up, I got Busta Rhymes with Extinction Level Event 4. Man, if you are not living under a rock, you know that Busta Rhymes is an OG, man. Like, be it classic verses or even bangers or like hits that he has provided all these years, like, it's impossible to ignore Busta Rhymes. And it's always a good thing that when such a respected MC comes out and releases an album which is of such a good quality, only cements their legacy. And I mean, for him to come out with an album after so long, it's just, everybody had their doubts at whether Busta Rhymes could pull it off. And above all, like, something which is a slight negative of this album is the length of this album. It's almost a double disc, like a double album in general. And the problem with double albums is, like, you have to listen to like solid 20-25 songs, and like that almost elapses to around 2.5 hours. So investing 2.5 hours repeatedly to listen the album over and over again, just so you're not missing it out, it's a very exhausting task. But with Busta Rhymes, I think he brought with it, he makes sure that album remains consistent. And it's not very difficult to it's not very difficult to digest it all along. Like, be it and the features were excellent on this album. Like, say, be it Kendrick Lamar or Anderson .Paak or even Rakim feature, everybody brought their A game, and it was all in all a very, very entertaining listen. A long listen, you can say, but still, I think you need a little stamina for this one. But guess what? It'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. I assure you. Next up, I got CJ Fly with Rudebwoy. CJ Fly is a rapper from Pro Era Group, which featured late Capital Steez and rap superstar in Joey Badass. CJ Fly, on the other hand, in my opinion, has not got, the respect that he deserves, and this album shows why. CJ Fly, incorporated the grimy hip-hop, New York style, boom bap rap along with his, Caribbean roots as well. And you can hear it all along the album. The kind of the kind of features that he brought here, be it Conway or be it any other feature. I think even Freddie Gibbs is on here too. So I think overall it was a very engaging listen, and I think this is a rapper that you should be keeping an eye on, because CJ Fly is hella underrated, man, and this album just showed it, like, why you should keep an eye on him. So next up, I got Noir with 2 albums, Juno with 38 Spesh and As God Intended with Apollo Brown. So Noir is another one of those rappers that I got to know first time in this year. Like, she's a newly discovered artist for me. I got to know about her from a playlist, I think, and I was not disappointed. The first album that I heard was with her collaboration with 38 Spesh, Juno, and it was a very short, crisp, to the point, and very punchy rap. 38 Spesh did his thing with the production. It was very smooth, very jazzy, and then Noir was spitting. And that's what caught my eye, because I was just wondering that who is she, and how I didn't know about her yet. But man, I was just looking for this album, and the next one that she brought with the legendary producer Apollo Brown, named As God Intended, man, my ears were all perked up for this one, because as you know it, like, Apollo Brown's production is just smooth, free flowing, and it's just so jazzy that it's impossible to miss. And the kind of features that she brought here, be it Ty Faris, be it Black Thought, man, like, this album, I think this is her breakthrough album. And it's not just me, but also the hip-hop Twitter and the hip-hop community in general just acknowledge the fact that how good, not only good this album is, but also the kind of topics that she addressed, like being a black woman in America, the kind of racism that they have to face, and like even more complex relationship problems. Like, this album covered stories, both of them. And if you are someone who wants to discover more lyrical female rappers in hip-hop, I think Noir is a very good spot to start with. And give it a listen to both the albums, and I'm pretty sure you won't be disappointed. Next up, I got Currency and Harry Fraud with the Outrunners. Man, Currency, but the thing with Currency is that I think people widely acknowledge him as the mixtape king, and rightly so, because, like, from what I have seen, every year he has this work ethic where he'll be releasing 3, 4, 5 mixtapes over and over, like, throughout the year, like just feeding his audience. And he does not disappoint. Like, a lot of people find him lazy, or like, his flow, find his flow boring. But in my case, like, the way how raspy Currency's voice is, he just manages to hold my attention. And Harry Fraud's production just completely complements that. Like, his raspy voice just over those smooth Harry Fraud beats, it just meshes really well, and it's a very engaging listen overall. The Wiz Khalifa feature came out brilliantly. Conway the Machine was over there again, and I think Conway the Machine was just everywhere, I think. Rick Ross, brilliant feature. So all in all, a very, very good listen. Next up, I got DJ Preservation's Eastern Medicine, Western Illness. I think of all the albums that I have listed so far, or all the albums that I will be listing so far, I think this is one of those albums that the sonic concept of this album was what caught my attention, and it was something that didn't disappoint me all along. Like DJ Preservation's concept basically relied upon putting out an album with the instrumental that are more focused on the Eastern music, be it the Hong Kong or China or the Eastern Asia. And that's the concept that it works on, that not just sonically representing the Eastern Asian sounds, meshing it with hip hop, but also like the rappers that he brought out to mesh with it were brilliant. Mac Homie's feature on I-78 was outstanding. Like that beat is so good. Like if you're someone who just want to give it a try, you want to know how how good the DJ Preservation's album is, but you're unsure about it, go and try Mac Homie's song I-78. You will realize that how this album works. Like that particular song is a very good symbol of it. Ka was on there, and Ka killed it with his verse. I wish Earl Sweatshirt was on this one too, because the kind of beats that I heard, I wish that he was there, but he wasn't, unfortunately. And yeah, but overall I don't think that it took it away from the album. It just really good lyrical rap on some very Eastern sounding beats, and it was a very unique album in itself. So kudos to DJ Preservation, man. That was amazing. Next up, I got Eminem with Music to Be Murdered by Side A and Side B. Well, to be very honest, Eminem was my first introduction to rap in general. And after Marshall Mathers LP 2, there has been time when I have been questioning so much that maybe Eminem doesn't have it in him. Maybe he is not going to craft a good album anymore. But these two albums, god damn, he changed it completely. Music to Be Murdered by Side A, when it came out, I was a little skeptical on my first, and I was like, maybe it's not gonna do it. But with time, I heard more songs, and it just somehow stayed with me throughout the year, and just I'm convinced that it's a very, very, very good album. And I know that internet loves to hate on Eminem, but screw it. This is a good album, and if you listen to it with a very impartial mind, I think it's gonna work for you. The songs like Darkness just shows that how good M still is with his storytelling. And even with the posse cuts like yeah, you gonna learn this, he's always bringing out these rappers and the best out of them. And even we have seen some of the best rapping performances both the albums. So amazing. And you know what, I hope Eminem continues with this and just shows that it's not just that he's becoming this very lyrical just fast sounding rapper. He can craft meaningful songs, and I think these two albums are a step in the right direction. Next up, I got Flea Lord and Eto with Roc America 2. Flea Lord is I think he's signed under Conway's label Drumworks. So if you ask me that, again, this is one of those albums that I heard through the playlist. That's how I try to approach these underground rappers. And I was aware of Eto's collaboration courtesy of his feature on Chenoa's album, but Flea Lord and Eto, man, this was a very good collaboration. And Roc America 2, again, a very subtle commentary on the racial differences that exist in America, and a very sharp lyricism by Flea Lord throughout this album. Like his delivery, his flow is outstanding. Like it just cuts through the beat. You can hear his aggression, you can hear his flow through the beat. Like he will catch your attention instantly. And he showed that on Conway's album as well, where he featured with Lloyd Banks and Havoc as well. And he held his own. He held his own on that one, which is no easy task. So kudos to him. I'll definitely look out for his album in future. Next up, I got Freddie Gibbs and Alchemist with Alfredo. Man, if I was doing a ranking this year, I think this would easily end up in my top 2. Easily. But, I decided to just keep it diplomatic and just, tell you all about the albums that I liked. So, sorry, Gibbs. But this album, man, again, I told you over and over that Alchemist is easily one of my favorite producers of all time. And the kind of beats that he gave to Freddie on this one, they are so smooth. Like you can feel the stark contrast, and it's a credit to his versatility. Like I told you about Boldy James, that how those beats are so dark and grimy in nature. He gave Gibbs some of the best soulful beats I have heard. And it's not just that he gave you this very recurring theme that you're hearing about, soulful, smooth beats. There were also some beats that are just grimy and just like snapping on your face. They'll catch your attention. Be it the opening song 1985, the rock-inspired beat that was on the album opener, and it remained one of my favorite songs of the entire year. That beat is amazing, like the kind of beat that I want to put on as a ringtone. And Gibbs rapping, man, this guy is killing it for like past 2-3 years. Gibbs is on his own league, man. And I mean, if you care about hip hop, I think you gotta know about Freddie Gibbs, and because his work ethic and the kind of quality work that he's putting out, it deserves more recognition. And I'm glad that he's nominated for this year's Best Rap Album category in the Grammys, and I hope he wins it. I think he will, but yeah, let's see. Next up, I got Ka with Descendants of Cain. It's a very tight concept album revolving around the stories of Cain and Abel, and where Ka also finds time to express his own emotional problems as well, the ups, the downs, the depression, the family related problems, the hood life, and how it's affecting him and his buddies in general. Ka opens up a lot about these things, and his lyricism is sharp, his delivery is laid back, but the beats here, I've heard some of the darkest beats ever on this album. And there are some of the beats that are so scary that it's a very haunting task to listen this album in general. And but the kind of messages that Ka puts out, it's amazing. It's just like, I think it is one of the more difficult albums to listen on this entire list, but the kind of lyricism and the sharpness that he has, which again he puts out so subtly on these very dark, harrowing beats. I mean, it's a very difficult to digest, but a very potent combination. I assure you about that. So next up, I got Lupe Fiasco's House EP. Man, Lupe is genius, bro. I think like if you know about hip hop, you know that Lupe is a genius. The kind of creativity that he has, man, it's exceptional. Production is again very smooth, like a typical Chicago style production that you expect. But the kind of concept that he brings here, like how he decides to express individuality and evolution of life through a shoe, or how he talks about he's talking about dinosaurs in one song, and like how we as humans we decide to predict that how dinosaurs were like, or how sounds they would be making, but the reality might not be the same. So it's a very fresh take from even Lupe, which Lupe does on a regular basis. But as a listener, when you listen to all this very depressing, grimy, real life shit, and then there is Lupe who's coming out with all these creative stuff in his raps, it's always a refreshing take. And I'm just sad that Lupe just gave us a very small EP, because the kind of quality content that there is on this album, man, if he would have given us like a 12-track LP, and we wouldn't be disappointed. Lupe brings his best here, and just Lupe does Lupe. Next up, I got Mac Miller with Circles. Personally speaking, I think this was the album that I have been avoiding throughout the year. Like, it came way back in February, I think, and I decided not to listen to it. Simply because that Mac Miller was actually one of my favorite rappers when I got to know him. I mean, I got to know about his music, and his death was something that actually affected me on an emotional level. Swimming is one of those albums that I genuinely like. I genuinely love that body of work, but then I try not to listen to it, not because it's a bad piece of music, but because the kind of negative thought that it kicks in within me. It's just, and even the kind of phase that I was in my life, it is a kind of album that it is special in some ways, but again, I would rather avoid listening to it, because you get it, right? So Circles, again, it just connects with Swimming in a way that first part was Swimming, second is Circles, so it's swimming in circles. I mean, I think it's very difficult for me to talk about this album, because it's almost like reading a dead man's letter. Like, you can hear, you can go listen to his songs, you can listen to his lyrics, and it's you can feel the pain that he was going through, man. And I mean, I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to go through that cycle again, but I just somehow found the courage to listen to this album, and it's a beautiful body of work, to be very honest. I mean, he's not rapping as much as he was in Swimming, but he's more singing in this one. But I mean, it just works out perfectly, man. I mean, I don't think that I want to elaborate on this one. Maybe sometime later. And rest in peace, Mac. That's all I can say. And it's a good album. I think you all should listen to it. So next up, I got Mike and Jadasea with Weight of the World. So when Fantano said in his review that this album has a pretty similar sonics to, let's say, Earl Sweatshirt's Some Rap Song, I think he was pretty right about that, because if you look at the kind of sonics that are on this album, it's very weird. It's very, I think for a normal people, they can say that it's borderline noisy, it's unorganized, it's very experimental in general. But Mike's lyricism on this one is spot on. Like, the songs are very short, like it's a very, even though I think it has like good 12, 15 tracks, but then like the length of those songs is so small that you can easily go through them, and Mike is rapping well on them. Like, I mean, it's very weird that an unorthodox beat meets an unorthodox flow, and still it came out well. Like, Mike was still able to talk about his depression, and he did in such small songs. And kudos to him, man. Like, I think it is one of the best experimental albums I've heard this year, and I did not expect it like that. So, I mean, I think it's a little disrespectful for Mike to, being compared as like a copy of Earl Sweatshirt as when Tana put it out. I don't think that's the case. I think Mike has his own distinct way to do it. And, if you give it a more thorough listen, you will realize it that, yes, sure, you might find some, modern Earl Sweatshirt traits in that album, but it stands out in its own way. Next up, I got Roc Marciano with Mount Marci. I think this is the most accessible Roc Marciano album. Like, if you're used to his stripped down, no drums beat, I think he really changed a lot in it. But again, managed to kept it rock. Like, the beats are still very weird. The drums are there, but, it's not just that one of those turn up beats that, you can just bob your head to. It's still very laid back. It's still very weird in a way, and very grimy in general. And the best thing that I found was that Rock brought some really surprising features on this one. Schoolboy Q was on this, School Keith was on this, Stove God Cooks was on this, which was kind of expected given that they collaborated. But these features also brought the A game to it. Schoolboy Q killed that feature. Cool Keith the OG, brilliant feature. And while it might not be as good as, let's say, his previous projects like Roc Marciano's Reloaded or Marcialago, but in general, I think Mount Marci is a very, very good album, and I think easily his most accessible, easy to listen album. Next up, I got RTJ4, the Run the Jewels 4, baby. Run the Jewels 4, I think if I have to summarize it quickly, I would say that it's a typical rebel music, like these, like Killer Mike and LP just brought this very panicking, very, rebellious music in general, where it's like, it's kind of Public Enemy vibe, where you just want to raise the voice against the system and just go out and rebel and go and do a fucking riot, man. And the kind of energy that they brought here is outstanding. The songs were great. It dropped off a little, but towards the end, but I think overall still a very, very good album. Like, I think people say that it's one of the best yet. I don't know, but still a very, very, very good piece of work. Next up, I got Smino with S.A.D. It's another mixtape where, it's a largely collaboration of some of his, songs that he didn't decide to use in his album, some random freestyles on already hit songs, like he rapped on Beyonce and Megan Thee Stallion single. He killed it. Like, it's a very casual, light listen, and it just shows here. I mean, great mixtape. Next up, I got Westside Gunn with Pray for Paris. I think to make a top 3, I think this will easily be there. Like, Westside Gunn, like, I don't know how he does it. Like, he releases 2, 3, 4 albums, and like, there's not even a slight drop in the quality of music that he puts out. It's crazy to realize that. And I think Westside Gunn might have possibly topped it on this one. Like, Fly God is my favorite album from Westside Gunn, but Pray for Paris is just as good, like slightly below Fly God, but still a very, very, maybe my second favorite of all time from Westside Gunn. And the reason is there, like, you get the signature Griselda sound, that grimy signature Griselda sound where it's slow, it's gritty, but then he makes it up for it with his charisma. He'll make sure that he holds your attention. He decides to experiment with the beat as well, that Tyler the Creator beat he got, and even his feature with Wale or French Toast song that he did. Concise, smooth, and a very good album. Next up, I got Your Old Droog with Dump Yard. It follows the suit of Griselda, you can say, of sorts, with this very grimy New York boom bap style sound. And Your Old Droog, again, just brings out that best lyricism in him. And I mean, I still think that It Wasn't Even Close is my favorite Your Old Droog album, but I think this is a very good display of his sharp lyricism and the kind of features that he brought in. Proud Eyes, I think, is my favorite posse cut from this year. Black Thought killed it. LP was outstanding, especially with that Kafka line. So, again, a very good. I mean, if you worship lyricism, if you really like lyricism and want to see rappers spitting fire, I think this album is the one for you. Last, I got Willie the Kid with the Capital Gains. Willie the Kid is another one of those artists that I found this year, and I'm pretty impressed by his lyricism. Again, he just combines that street talk with some very good boom bap beats, and it just comes out really well. So, just to wrap up this list so far, if you made it so far, thank you so much. Thank you. I love you. But before that, I would like to announce my album of the year so far in this 2020, in this chaos that has been 2020. My album of the year goes to Conway the Machine, From King to a God. I mean, I think I can say that this is the album that was perfect. That was like, it has everything. Conway is rapping hard on the songs that he has with, let's say, Spurs 3 with Benny the Butcher and Westside Gunn. Even with his song, he brought out the best out of Lloyd Banks. He got Flea Lord spitting fire and Havoc as well. But apart from that, he also has some really good emotional tracks as well, where he's talking about his fallen brother, Machine Gun Black, or even his even his mentor and the DJ Shay that died few days before the release of the album. He's giving tribute to them as well. So, you see his emotional side, you see his side as a rapper as well, and he's also giving you tracks that will just bang and, get your attention. Like a complete album, you get everything that you want from him. And overall, like, I think this is easily his best work. I think it is even better than Reject 2 that he released, I think, in 2015, I guess. So, yeah, that's it. I think this year I had the aim to listen 100 albums, and I think I'm happy to say that I already crossed that. And to come up with this list where I'm just updating daily it on my phone, and just to make sure that one day I would be able to do it. I'm glad that I managed to do it. I mean, if you made it so far, thank you so much. Thank you. I love you. And yeah, that's it. If you like the list, let me know. If you don't, what do you think that I was missing? And yeah, that's it. And shout out to Pop Smoke. I think even his album was great. I think it would be in my honorable mentions. And rest in peace, MF Doom. I think, yeah, that's all I want to say. So keep listening to music. If you want something that I should be reviewing, let me know. Follow me on Instagram. I think you'll see it down there. Thank you so much.